And welcome, you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Starting from July 1st, a new liberalized electricity market model started operating in Ukraine. Electricity prices began to be determined on a market basis. This was one of Ukraine's international obligations. However, today, market participants and experts have different opinions about the readiness of the energy system. To discuss this, we welcome to the studio today Andrian Prokip. He's the energy expert at the Ukrainian Institute for the Future. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So first of all, could you please explain a little bit more deeply what a liberalized electricity market model actually means?
Well, actually, this means implementing the similar market model that European Union has. This means that there are different segments of market which within each of them there is demand and supply for electricity trading, and this actually defines the price for electricity for final consumers. Because before that we had the situation when state bodies, they defined electricity price for all final consumers, and so this was an obligation of Ukraine, and this is actually the a precondition for integration of Ukraine to INSOE, the European network of electricity markets. However, still we don't have this free market and market-oriented pricing, because we have price caps, which means price selling for defining prices at each segment of the market. And the biggest problem is that currently Parliament offers to prolong this system of the regulation, because at the very beginning this was meant to have for 9 months, and now Verkhovna Rada offers to have this unlimited regulation of prices. This actually is a problem, because that is not a free market anymore.
Well, as far as I know, once the liberalized electricity market model started operating, the prices actually went up, because this is how they were regulated by the market itself. What does it mean for consumers, and for how long the prices that actually grew up are going to stay like that, or are they going to decrease?
Yeah, right. According to our assessments, after launch in the market, prices would have to increase for 30%, 20-30%. On the other hand, there was any increase for electricity prices for households, because there was a specific mechanism, public service obligation, when two state-owned companies, Energoatom operating nuclear power plants and Hydroenergo operating big hydropower stations, who sell electricity at low price for households. And actually this means that enterprises have to pay higher price to compensate these losses that some companies have because of trading electricity to households at a lower price. This actually, this problem of cross-subsidizing, we had to solve this years and years ago. But you know, that's a political issue, because never government want to increase prices, because this affects on the popularity of any political force. And as we know, currently more than 40% of people in Ukraine, they expect that new government, new president will decrease prices for all utilities. But actually there is
That's what all candidates actually promise.
Yeah, but
all the time.
All the time they promise this.
However, in reality, it's rarely possible, actually.
Yeah, but there is no option to do this. So the right way is to have the same market price for both for households and for enterprises. And when government subsidize these group of households for whom these electricity prices are unaffordable, so that actually is the way that we had to follow. But so these recent proposals from Verkhovna Rada, they will make this market not a market, but again regulated electricity sector.
On October 1st, 2019, Ukraine stopped commercial import of electricity from the Russian Federation. Now, what does commercial import actually mean, and how will it affect the electricity market of Ukraine?
Well, in general, because it is a market, any company can buy electricity at specific markets, and this electricity also can be imported from any neighboring state. So we could import electricity from Russia and Belarus, besides European states, and this electricity was traded at the day-ahead market, so-called, and then final consumers could buy this electricity. But in the mid of September, Verkhovna Rada passed a law which actually allowed what you mentioned, commercial import, when any enterprise in Ukraine can sign an agreement, direct agreement with a company, electricity trading company in Russia or Belarus, and to have direct electricity supplies.
Right.
So that is a problem because in 2022 Ukraine has to disconnect from this unified system, Russia, Belarus, Moldova. We are united into the single power grid called Eurozes, and we have to disconnect and later
from the whole system itself, meaning ending any kind of importing, exporting relations with Russia, Belarus, Moldova.
Right.
Okay.
So after that, we have to demonstrate our capacity to work in autonomous regime, and then we have to synchronize our system with the European system.
In your opinion, following your evaluations, how ready is Ukraine to work on its own, to supply its own energy market with energy generated only in Ukraine? Are we going to rely on our European partners?
Actually, that will be pretty complicated, but it's possible. So it will be really hard, but it's possible. And we already had this experience of working in autonomous mode. However, the big problem today is renewable energy sources, because it's pretty difficult. We have a lack of capacities to maneuver, to balance this production of these renewables, to balance with consumption. So that is a kind of problem today. But I believe that this will be possible to be done, to work for 1 year in autonomous regime. And these direct agreements, that's actually a risk for disconnection with Russia in 2022, because some private entities may go to court with the claim that a disconnection from Russia affects badly on their business. So that's the one part. And the second part is that the company supplying electricity to Ukraine at this direct agreement market, company Interrao, is chaired by Mr. Sechin, against whom United States introduced sanctions after Crimea annexation. So that's also not very good sign for our Western partners.
Right. Well, hopefully Ukraine manages to stabilize its electricity market. Thank you so much for coming here. That was Andrian Prokip. He's the energy expert at the Ukrainian Institute for the Future. Thank you so much for watching Head to Head. Stay tuned with UATV for more.